What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video / podcast of Dynasty Dweebs. I am Austin Biederman, and I am joined here today with Jim Brooks and Zach Helowitz. Today, we're going to be discussing our top 10 Dynasty rookie wide receivers. Top 15, actually, not top 15. So, who would like to start us off with their number one pick for Dynasty rookie wide receivers?
CeeDee Lamb. Easy.
Lambeau. I also have Lambeau as my number one pick for Dynasty. I think that Michael Gallup will eventually be booted out of that spot, but we can't erase him too early from the Cowboys. I think eventually it will be Lambeau's spot, but until then he's going to be shadowed behind Amari Cooper. Mel Gallup can take a lot of reps. Zeke is still going to eat up a lot of the volume, and we're not really too sure what's going to go on with Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton, but I still think CeeDee Lamb has the best value for the next 3 years.
I can't imagine putting CD number one at this point this early, just because he is the third option in the receiving core at the beginning of the year. Now, there's no doubt he could eventually beat out Gallup, but I don't see him beating out Amari Cooper in the next 2 or 3 years to just become the number one option in that team.
I mean, even if he has Amari Cooper, he's still going to see plenty of targets, even if he's a second receiver.
Oh, I'm
that
sure.
Offense is so high-powered. Plus, with Zeke running the ball, everything's just open.
Also,
yeah, but that could also end up being kind of a downfall, is that if Zeke ends up just getting 30 touches a game, then the passing kind of ends up falling off for Dak.
Or Andy Dalton.
Yeah, sure.
Also, I don't downgrade Lambeau with either of those quarterbacks. It's going to be the same for me. I don't care if it's Dak Prescott or Andy Dalton.
They're both good quarterbacks, I mean.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. And Cowboys fans can bitch about that, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, they're still going to choke in the playoffs, who really cares?
Are they going to make the playoffs?
They could use either of those quarterbacks, and they should be able to win the division because that division sucks. All right, so my number 2 was Justin Jefferson for the Minnesota Vikings, and I like him the most. I could almost put him over CD because I think he's gonna be that Stephon Diggs of that team, but be a better Stephon Diggs. So he's gonna be a better teammate than Stephon Diggs, and Kirk Cousins is gonna feel a lot better throwing him the ball. And I mean, give him a few years, I think he'll be better than Adam Thielen.
Jesus,
Thielen is old reliable there.
Yeah. He's Mr. 100 yards.
That's the Julio Jones of that team. He's just going to get everything.
Stephon Diggs did very well last 2 years for that team. And I think Justin Jefferson can do better.
He was kind of shit last year.
Okay.
I think the whole offense as a whole for that team was kind of not in sync last year.
Yeah,
with all the internal fighting you would see with all the mic'd up stuff between Cousins and Diggs and not getting the ball.
Okay, but Diggs isn't playing for the team.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. That's what they dealt with last year. If you're saying he's going to be the new Diggs, but obviously a better teammate,
he's
not as controversial.
The skill of Stephon Diggs and the stats of Stephon Diggs without the bitching.
Yeah.
And that team's passing is going to be insane because of Dalvin Cook. And I think Kyle Rudolph hopefully steps up next year a little bit. He was kind of irrelevant this year. Hopefully they get the tight ends a little more love on the Vikings. But who was your guys' number 2 if you don't have Justin Jefferson at 2?
Jerry Jeudy.
I had Jeudy at 1 and CD at 2.
So why Jeudy at 1?
Well,
Denver, baby.
Kind of all these guys, I really don't see them as a number 1 option. So it's just who's going to flourish the most as a number 2 or even third option on their team. And I think Jerry Jeudy behind Cortland Sutton, and then with the other rookie receiver that the Broncos drafted, also with Noah Fant. There's just they have so many people to target, but I think Judy's going to end up getting a lot of the volume really close with Sutton.
Okay.
And I can just
One
see
thing
him
I
being
have
the
to
best
say
receiver.
about the Broncos is that everyone drafting players from the Broncos needs to be careful because there is bust potential for Drew Lock. I'm high on Drew Lock, but I'm just saying he could bust. And that would suck.
He showed very well in the minimal games he did play as a rookie after coming back from IR.
He just has to keep it up. And if he is good, then the team's going to be very good. Very, very good. Jerry
Wild
Jeudy
card
was
potential.
my number 3, and that was just because we're looking at 3-year value here, and I think that Courtland Sutton is going to be very, very good for 3 years. But there's no reason there can't be 2 good receivers on that team because we saw Emmanuel Sanders and Courtland Sutton flourish very nicely. So there's no reason they can't be a 2-man combo.
I mean, their team is loaded with a bunch of young guys who can become studs at this point.
Yeah.
It's really all over their skill positions with Drew Lock, and then you have Sutton going into his 3rd year, right? And the 2 rookie receivers they drafted, and Noah Fant as a 2nd-year player. It's a bunch of youth that has a bunch of potential.
So is Jefferson in your guys' top 4?
No.
He's my 3rd.
Okay. I let him slide down.
All right. Well, there's not much more for me to say about Jeudy. I mean, I think that you'll be fine. Okay, so I mean, realistically, people are going to be going after CD and Jerry Jeudy, probably the highest overall averagely. So I think you're going to be fine with either of those guys in the long term, I would hope. But my number 4 was Ruggs, Henry Ruggs III on the Raiders, and I'm just a little scared with Ruggs just because of the quarterback situation. I don't know what they're going to do with Derek Carr because he's just been average, to be honest. I mean, he hasn't been anything special. But, I mean, you could say that's because of the lack of weapons he has. But
I think Gruden is going to end up sticking with Carr. I think he likes him. From the little kind of mic'd up stuff I've seen between them, they seem like they have pretty good chemistry together.
Yeah, I mean, we got Hunter Renfrow, Tyrell Williams, Ruggs, can't catch boy Nelson Aguilar, and Waller. So there's a lot to spread here, and I'm sure we'll see Josh Jacobs in the passing game. So I don't know. He's like a tier down for me for some reason. I don't know.
I'm iffy about him. Just iffy about like the Raiders in general.
Yeah, I was scared to considering he was the first receiver off the board. It was really shocking considering everyone just had it between Jeudy and Lamb pre-draft. So seeing him, I mean, it's a different option on the Raiders for him. I mean, he's just a really good deep threat. I had him at 4 and Jalen Reagor at 3, actually, because I think he has the most potential to be a number 1 guy as a receiver. Obviously, I think Zach Ertz is going to have the majority of the targets in the Philly offense still, but
so here's my only problem with Jalen Reagor at 3 is that offense had plenty of options for other receivers to step up in that spot, and none of them did. Like, they went through multiple receivers, and it never worked out for any of them. So Jalen Reagor is going to have to definitely pack some actual talent in to be good. Like, it's not just going to be he's the number 1. And I wish that Alshon Jeffrey wasn't even on the team, honestly, because I think he's going to take the touchdowns away. Not the yards, but he's going to get the touchdowns.
I mean, a touchdown whore.
Yeah. Him, Zach Ertz, and Goddard, dude. They take the touchdowns. But I do like Jalen Reagor long term for sure. Because they're going to need some guy to step up. Yeah, he was my 6, so I'm not like super far down. I think he's definitely worth the spot on your team.
I think a lot of the receivers, I think everyone has the elite 2 with Lamb and Jeudy, just like they are the best pure receivers in the class. But there's the separate tier of all these other guys between probably, honestly, down to close to 15. They're all around that tier together. And it's just kind of where you think they fit best and who your personal preference is at that point.
Zach, who did you have at 5?
I had Ruggs at 5.
Okay. Who'd you have at 5 and 6, Jim?
I had Denzel Mims at 5 and Michael Pittman Jr.
Okay, so let's talk about Mims then, because Mims is also my 5. So I think we can all agree that Mims is probably, like, right now, without any changes on the teams, he is in the best spot to be the number 1 receiver. But that's not saying he's in the best scenario of an offense, because it's not the best offense out of these receivers, but he has he's most likely to get the most volume out of these guys, the most targets, receptions. But I'm sure the Jets are going to pick someone else up before the end. You can't go into the season with Crowder and this guy and Denzel Mims.
And the fact that they lost Anderson. So they're looking for something else to kind of fill in somewhere. But
I mean, if they can somehow turn around this offense, I think that he could be. I mean, we haven't really seen a really great receiver in New York for the New York Jets in a while since like Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. So
I don't think Sam Darnold has really flourished yet either. But that's really probably not all on him, considering how dysfunctional this team has been for the past God knows how long at this point.
I think as long as Adam Gase is there, it's going to be a dysfunctional team.
He's a dysfunctional human.
I mean,
get Rex Ryan back in there.
Not to get off topic, but just drafting Frank Gore is kind of toxic. I mean, not drafting. I mean, picking him up is kind of toxic. I'm sure Le'Veon Bell is pissed off.
I don't know if Frank Gore is really going to scare Le'Veon Bell though.
Frank Gore is
if someone's taking my touchdown
he's for sure
reps,
a Hall of Famer.
If someone's taking my touchdown reps, I'm going to be a little pissed off.
I mean, it depends what kind of player you are. If you're valuing your stats over, team like wins and chemistry like that, then yeah, I can understand Le'Veon Bell.
Incentives, bro.
I can understand why Le'Veon Bell would be pissed off. It's kind of the same thing with Aaron Rodgers and then them drafting Jordan Love, obviously, but no one really knows how the players feel. Everyone just in the media just kind of hovers to what they think and how a player has been previously.
Zach, any takes on
Rodgers? Give a fuck.
Any takes on Rigor or Denzel Mims? We'll move on to number 7. Do you guys, who do you guys see having? So Jim, would you say, like, let's just say, like, on this year's value, who do you think will have more receiving yards, Rigor or Mims?
I'd say Mims.
Mims, because I mean, these rankings are based off a 3-year value, so I'm just asking this year what you think would happen.
Yeah, I think Rigor overall on the Eagles will have a better probably second, third year than Mims. I think Mims can have a good rookie year, but kind of bottom out and he's just going to level himself with the Jets. I feel like he's not going to kind of keep showing more and more potential.
Yeah. All right. So my number 7 was Michael Pittman Jr. for the Colts. I'm a little shaky on the Colts in general, just because I don't really see their direction. Because I mean, I really don't understand the whole point of getting Philip Rivers. You're not winning the Super Bowl next year. What's the point of getting Philip Rivers? Why not just start the rebuild with Eason and go for like a cheat, like you don't need to pay as much to get Philip Rivers, get another veteran in there. And so Michael Pittman, I think, has good long-term value. There's not a lot of receivers. T.Y. Hilton will be out of the room in a couple of years. And then they have Zach Pascal and Paris Campbell. So
I like the Rivers pickup for just the veteran mentor that he can provide for Eason, but they also still have Brissett there, but who knows what's going to happen with him.
I just feel like they picked him up thinking they're going to like do something, and they're not going to do anything.
I mean, if they're just trying to be competitive, I understand it, because no one just wants to like actively No, yeah, he wasn't. He was really good while he was healthy. But, yeah, it's a weird decision to make. But for
they're really
Pittman,
not that bad of a team.
No, they're not.
I know, but like the Chiefs,
they have a really good offensive line. Defensively, they have some really nice linebackers. But for Michael Pittman, I agree that he's probably going to end up. I think they have a nice little group of young guys in Campbell, Zach Pascal, and Pittman to go. Yeah,
Pascal shined a little bit towards the end. Couple decent little games. Zach, who'd you have at 7?
Oh, at Pittman.
Pittman also.
This is where I put Justin Jefferson.
At 7?
Yeah.
It's hard to, like, all these guys I felt like were the same kind of tier, and that's just kind of where he fell for me. So I think it's going to be Thielen's show for the most part, and he's just going to be the backup guy.
I know. I just had him up so high because I've seen that team thrive on 2 receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did. But it's also just like with a lot of these guys, you do have to push the brakes a little bit because Diggs has shown what he is, and all these guys have their college tape yet. They don't know what they're gonna do against NFL defensive backs and etc.
All right, number 8, I had Brandon Ayuk. San Francisco is a little slim here at the wide receiver position. It's pretty much what you call George Kittle receiver, basically. George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel. So I think if you get Brandon Ayuk here in our rankings where he's at, I think that he is very good value. And if you get him for a little later, not too early, then he'll have value for your team. I mean, we saw Deebo. He did very well last year. It's just stepping right up in the offense. And I don't know. He's on a good team, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, I had Ayuk at 8 as well. I like him, but I don't like Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback for getting your receivers really going. He's more of a game-managing quarterback.
That's what a lot of people say.
And he just reminds – I mean, Garoppolo and Tannehill are both game managers where – I mean, A.J. Brown obviously thrived, but it seems like, at least for San Francisco, the run game is what really is how they explode and beat teams.
I mean, we did see – like, he did get – when Emmanuel Sanders came over, he did do pretty well. And Deebo is still relevant, so just got to make sure there's enough volume there for everything to happen. They do run the ball a lot sometimes, so hopefully, I mean, if this ends up just being the Deebo Brandon Ayuk show down the road with Kittle on the side for tight end, then he has good value. Is that you, Brandon Ayuk at 8 also?
I had big Chase Claypool, baby.
Right, Pittsburgh Steelers.
The big man. I mean, the dude's fucking 6'4", dude. Like, just chuck it up to him.
Steelers are definitely
they're known for drafting some good ass receivers.
They do.
Yeah. The only thing with the Steelers is they have a lot of players, like a lot of guys that can catch the ball that we don't know how they're going to pan out.
I think you could argue that with a lot of these teams at this point, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I do like him. But before Claypool, I had T. Higgins.
I didn't know.
Wow. I had Chenault at 9.
So here's my take for T. Higgins. So AJ Green will be out of the room in like a year. Yes.
He's a Bengals guy.
He'll be out of the room in like a year or 2 at the most. He's one injury away from it being over. And
don't do AJ Green dirty like that.
I'm not doing him dirty. It's going to be his time to go.
Don't be saying shit like that.
It's going to be his time to go.
He's still great.
Okay, and then we're left with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and maybe John Ross. We don't know for sure.
And Mixon and Giovanni Bernard.
Tyler Boyd's not like a proven elite receiver, right?
Hell no.
So this is anyone's job to step up to take AJ Green's job. We don't even know that AJ Green's going to outdo all the other receivers this year. It's going to be who Joe Burrow likes the most.
Yeah. I mean, AJ Green's foot injury could end up hindering the remainder of his career a lot, and he ends up falling down the...
I mean, he could be on limited reps, too. We don't know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people... I would say not a lot of people had AJ Green kind of missing this whole season. They expect him to miss a bunch of games, but not the whole year. So it must have been a lot more severe than what everyone was expecting. So maybe it's going to end up kind of dampening the latter half of his career here.
Or maybe they just saw that they were complete fucking garbage, and they're like, let's not even risk it.
That's probably part of it.
That's also fair.
But I feel like he did want to. I mean, you always want to get. I mean, I'm sure AJ Green is was thinking, man, I got to get back out there. I got to show I still have value in case the Bengals don't want to pick me up next year. You know, you don't want to get washed away like Des Bryant and not be able to find a team.
I mean, he wasn't able to, but then he got hurt.
Yeah, I know. It happens.
He got on a team. It's just that he tore it in like a clown.
All right, so this guy now I'm looking at it. I wish I should have. I'm gonna move him up a little bit. I'm gonna move Devin Duvernay over
Duvernay.
over Chase Claypool, because the Baltimore Ravens. So here's the negatives. If they get Antonio Brown, we'll take off my whole take. Okay, doesn't even matter. But if they don't get Antonio Brown, I think that this guy he's gonna be Hollywood's number 2. They haven't really. I don't. They got the possession guys. They got Willie Snead. They got Miles Boykin, but they're nothing special. They don't have that elite guy right now. You know, maybe this guy can be the elite guy.
Well, I have Duvernay at 13. He's basically. I don't think he's bad at all. It's just so. What we've seen so far in this offense from last year is that Mark Andrews is going to take the majority of the targets. I'm sure Nick Boyle's target share is also going to go up since Hayden Hurst is out. Marquise Brown's going to end up being the number 1 guy. And I think you have your possession guy who's going to get nice short yards, first downs, and Willie Snead. And then Miles Boykin, who had a lot of limited action last year, mainly because he was already behind Marquise Brown and Willie Snead previously. So I think he's going to take the jump up to really kind of get a little bit more time. And Duvernay is going to be behind Miles Boykin for at least the majority of the rookie year, unless he shines. And the Ravens also picked up a receiver in the 6th round from SMU, Prochet, I believe. But I think he's probably also going to be really limited, but he'll be a punt returner that you might be able to look out for, maybe having value later on.
Yeah, it does get a little complicated down here after T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Claypool.
Duvernay, I'm just not sold on being. The Ravens have never really had the craziest elite receivers. They kind of work with serviceable, just above average, but nothing special in the receivers. Or they have older guys that they sign from other teams previously, like Steve Smith, Anquan Bolden. Yeah.
Torrey Smith, Anquan Bolden, they were all really good players.
They're all good, but they're not like.
I know what you're saying.
They're not that, and they're normally in the later parts of their career. Like they pick up like Ngakoue, Earl Thomas. I mean, they still have years to play, but they're not necessarily in the. I mean, you could call it the prime, but getting towards the later parts of their career.
I'm also kind of sold they might get AB.
The Ravens they really don't pick up guys with. I mean, sometimes they end up just having guys with trouble.
Hey, but if you want to win the Super Bowl, man, I think you got to take the risk. He's got so much to offer, man.
I agree, but I don't know if the Ravens will.
That's something we could spend a lot of time
essentially
about,
for him.
So, next on number 12 rankings, I had KJ Hamler. I mean, I don't see him being relevant, but
same.
I mean, I think he's relevant.
But just
I had him at 10.
Just with Drew Lock.
I mean, he was a 2nd-round receiver. He's got to have something special, you know.
It's not that he's not special as a player.
It's just he's going to be a 3rd or 4th option.
He's surrounded by these
exactly.
You got Cortland Sutton, you got Jerry Jeudy, you got Noah Fant, you got Philip Lindsay running right out to the backfield. You're handing the ball off to Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
I
mean, see there's also the possibility where Jeudy falls to the wayside and Hamler ends up being the number 2 guy.
Sure.
That could always happen.
You don't know how they're going to end, change in the NFL. Some players don't make it to step up to the next level. There are busts.
That is for sure.
Zach, anything about Hamler or Duvernay?
Nah. Hamler just depends on how they choose to use both of them.
Yeah. I think no one needs to worry about Cortland Sutton, though. I think that he's set.
Oh, yeah.
He was a good receiver.
He really solidified himself into the number 1 spot on that team.
Yeah. They're just surrounding him with pieces to make him even better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 13, Laviska Shenault Jr. Jaguars blow, bro. They blow.
Jaguars.
They freaking blow. They blow. And I understand that they don't have a lot, so maybe this guy could have some value. And DJ Chark was still going on a team that blowed. But this organization is just so ass that I don't know how any player is going to have fun playing for them. And I feel bad to anyone that gets drafted on this team until they get a new coach, man.
Yeah.
I will say, so I had Shenault at 9. then I'll just go through Hamler 10, 11, Claypool, Higgins at 12. But with Shenault, I think he's the diamond in the rough of these receivers. I think he's
put
the
him
guy.
right at number 2 after Shark. Screw D. Westbrook.
I just think everyone looks at these guys and they keep kind of having LaVisca fall down the pecking order of these tiers. But I think he's going to be the guy that ends up outshining a couple and sneaks into maybe a top 5 receiver in this class.
He could. It just, to me, it depends.
On the Jaguars, bro.
It's just he's on the Jaguars. Like what?
I mean, they got a bunch of young guys here
dude,
who could change
2 days
things.
ago, Leonard Fournette opens his mouth and says, we should get Cam Newton. And then he's on the trade block, and now everything's just fine. And they're like, we're fine with Leonard Fournette. We're just going to keep him.
Dude, like, it's the fucking Jaguars, bro.
Like, I'm sorry, Jaguars. Do you have a better running back you can go get right now than Leonard Fournette?
I mean, you have to also. The Jaguars were a couple years. No, I know.
I'm pretty sold on Gardner.
They've obviously just ended up trading and getting rid of a bunch of their star defensive pieces, so they're not the Saxonville Jaguars from years previous.
No, not even close.
Yeah, but like they were just a few years ago, really in the AFC Championship, almost in the Super Bowl with fucking Blake Bortles at quarterback. Blake fucking Bortles was almost in a Super Bowl.
Hey, that defense was legit, though.
It was.
That's the reason they were there.
And the Steelers choked.
But now they do have a couple young pieces to where maybe they can kind of lead a revolution in that.
All right, yeah. So here's my take on Gardner Minshew. Half of me, I'm pretty sure they're just holding him for the marketing strategy because no one likes the Jaguars.
That's fair.
And everyone loves Gardner.
Everyone loves Gardner
I mean,
Minshew.
he came in and really was really good his first couple weeks.
I'm not arguing him. He's still a B+ quarterback as of now, but like.
Hey, you know who really loves Gardner? Eric.
Yes, he does.
Shout out Eric. A+ mustache.
I do upgrade DJ Chark though with this pick. This guy needs some help, man. And Tyler Eifert's not going to be it. All right, number 14, Bryan Edwards. You guys have him top 15.
I had Van or Von Jefferson at 14.
Yeah. So you just want to is Bryan Edwards your 15th?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, Bryan Edwards for the Raiders. I don't know. Probably not going to be relevant for a while.
With both of these last two guys,
like I'm not
just like that third and fourth option on their team. You know?
I have Bryan Edwards ahead of him because I think that they're going to crop out a lot of these players when by the time it's this guy's turn to step up. Like Hunter Renfrow, Tyrell Williams,
Ruggs
will be there with Edwards. I think they'll be the future of this team, and it'll be a good team.
And Waller.
Of course, Waller the baller.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Jacobs will still be trucking.
That's why I just kind of had these guys were like the obvious bottom two of the 15.
It's just there's no space for them to get the ball.
Because Jefferson is behind Cooper Kupp. He's behind Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee.
I do have to say, though, like...
Do they still have Josh Reynolds also?
They do have Josh Reynolds, but I feel like Van Jefferson has a real chance to outbeat... Like, he could outbeat Woods. I mean, Woods is nothing like... He could beat Woods and Reynolds. He's not going to be Cooper Kupp, but...
I mean, Robert Woods is still like a good average receiver.
He's good. They used
to better than Keenan Allen?
They put him in a lot of end-around plays.
Huh?
Keenan Allen?
Is he better than Keenan Allen?
Robert Woods?
No, I'm better than fucking Keenan Allen.
No, Robert Woods is not better than Keenan Allen.
All right, I'm not going to take it any further. That's it.
One day we will give the Keenan Allen debate, and it will be the most liked video on YouTube. Keenan Allen will shoot a brick.
Fuck Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen slander is not accepted here.
Yeah, we should get Keenan Allen on here. We can just fucking shit talk him to his
If
face.
Keenan Allen gets traded, I'll upgrade him.
Where would he
If
get
gets
traded to that
the
you would upgrade him?
So his career can shit
Where
the
would
bed.
he get traded that he would be upgraded? That needs a receiver right now.
The Jets and
The
Jaguars.
Jets.
Jets and Jaguars, I think, would be a good
And
spot for him.
honestly, though, would it be a bad move for the Chargers to drop Keenan Allen? They're in a rebuild anyways.
He's not like super old. He just turned 28.
Yeah, but fuck.
I understand, but they don't really have a who's the next up guy who's gonna
Big
lead
Mike.
their team.
Big Mike.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
He's
Mike
big.
Williams. Yeah.
Hunter Henry.
And Tyrod Taylor to fucking give it to him.
Who's giving reasons for Keenan Allen not to be good?
Yeah.
Absolutely no reason for him.
Gunslinger, dude. How are you hyping up Keenan Allen now that he doesn't have his main man, Phillip Rivers, dude?
I just think he's going to end up proving you guys wrong this year. I really
what
do.
If these guys are like, dude, how the fuck did Phillip Rivers do with this fucking guy?
I am ready for your projection take right now on his receptions and yards and touchdowns. If you could just spit a quick little prediction.
We gotta write this down.
I will write it down. What is your prediction?
I will go with. Let me just see what he's done previously.
Hold on, let me give mine. I'm already ready to put mine out.
Okay.
I look up his stats from the previous years.
His last 3 years, he has almost had 100 receptions each year.
So, listen, people. This is assuming that Justin Herbert is going to step up eventually. I'm going to give him 62 receptions, 725 yards.
Oh my god.
And 4 touchdowns.
You're fucking out of your mind.
What did you say?
4 touchdowns.
For Keenan?
I mean, dude, he's had 6. He averages 6. Who cares?
He's trash.
You also just said he was going to have 60 receptions when his last 3 years were 104, 97, and 102. He's just going to drop 40 receptions.
Dude, he doesn't have Phillip anymore.
I gave you my projection. I'm waiting for yours.
I think he will have he's definitely going to have a drop somewhere. Now, I think it's going to be 86 receptions.
All right.
1,079 yards. And let's just keep it consistent with the 6 touchdowns.
He's got some long catches in there, Jim.
How? That's like bang on average what he's doing.
Yeah, I know. Shouldn't you bring down the yards a little bit?
I have no problem keeping him at like
all right,
a little over 10
we'll
yards.
Just start 1,000 yards. I mean, if he gets 1,000 yards, I'll be impressed. It doesn't really matter to me.
He's not having 1,000 yards.
Look.
Oh my gosh.
Here's my only problem. Tyrod Taylor is obviously would have a better season than Justin Herbert. Herbert comes in, I'm going to downgrade Keenan Allen. I'm going to upgrade Hunter Henry because the quarterbacks always they're the tight ends when they're rookies.
Fuck Keenan Allen.
Fuck you.
All right, anything else to add? You guys got anything else to add? These nothing to Keenan Allen, but anything about the rookie dynasty wide receiver list, our top 10, top 15. Anything you want to add? Any hot takes before I end this? Any of these guys you think could finish in the top 5? They don't have to be in your number 1 rank. Just a guy that you think could finish top 5 this year as a receiver, a rookie receiver.
Top 5 of the rookie receivers, or
no, all the receivers.
I mean, I'm just fucking CeeDee Lamb. That'd be the other person.
None of these guys are going to be a top 5 receiver.
None of them for me.
Being a top 5.
None of them for me. None of them for me.
No.
Denzel Mims.
Top 5.
No one. I don't think any of these guys are going to be a top 5 receiver this year.
No, not a chance.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. We got the tight end Dynasty rookie video coming out on Friday. It's going to be awesome. Not that awesome, though, because it's talking about rookie tight ends. Who cares, man? All right. Peace out.